We are here with Paige Jenson, and I've been really eager to learn more about your story and background with real estate. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. That's really nice to say.
When did you get into real estate?
So I got my license, I still remember, September 26th, 2019.
Okay.
And started out on a team right away with Austin, the Austin Short Group, still together. And then things kind of took off really quickly, and then COVID hit. So what happened then? So I had done a couple transactions within the first 3 or 4 weeks of getting my license. So
Holy
things
cow.
had really taken off, and it was exciting and all that. I had my first listing go live March 12th or 13th, and then the world shut down 3 days later.
Yeah.
So we got it sold, but it was really scary, and because it was acreage and payola kind of thing, and I was really nervous about it, but we did get it sold. But when COVID hit, my husband was doing web design and marketing, digital stuff, and everybody wanted websites.
Sure.
So his stuff kind of took off, and so I kind of took a little bit of the back seat and put my stuff on hold, and things just kind of stalled at that point.
Okay.
For me.
Well, and I mean, to give yourself some grace, you weren't just figuring things out in COVID, you were also figuring out a whole new career.
Exactly.
So
yeah, I had stayed home with my kids, and this was kind of I had worked the last couple of years part-time plus, but this was my first kind of foray back into a career for myself.
Okay.
And hit the ground running, like I said, and then just felt like I kind of had to put the brakes on the actual business building part, which was just kind of discouraging, honestly.
Understandable, but you stuck with it.
Yes.
And so COVID, and then still working in real estate while managing the kiddos and the home and everything during such a crazy time.
Yep.
How did that career take a transition?
Yeah, so I still did a few more transactions through that summer. I remember the first one. I mean, we were carrying wipes and wearing gloves and masks in people's houses because we didn't know what we didn't know at the time, kind of thing. Totally forgot this. I actually went to Texas during the stay-at-home stuff and stayed with my family. My husband and I and the kids loaded up and went to Texas for a month and a half. And we did quarantine in Texas, and I did a couple transactions remotely. Austin helped kind of do inspections and things like that, but I was not made to homeschool. And so I loaded up and got help from the grandparents. Got back. Summer was here. Then school started back, and that was all weird. And as we all know, everything was just odd.
Everything was weird.
Everything was odd and different. And so I just never really found my footing again after that. And around that time, the year goes on, we ended up transitioning to a different brokerage and got a little fresh wind then, but also offered to do transaction coordination or contract management and stuff for the team. So I started doing that in, I think, May of 2021. And as great as that was, because it was supplemental income, it really put the pause button on me building my own business even more.
Sure.
So I was doing things for the team and getting to learn a ton about real estate and transactions and how they work. And I mean, I feel like I'm such a better agent now because I did that.
Okay.
But it didn't facilitate me growing my business at all, because there's always busy work to do.
Always busy work. There's so much paperwork. There's so many documents and contracts that need to be taken care of, not to mention everyone that you have to follow up with to get signatures and files and everything that you need. So yeah, can totally understand if you were managing it for a team. There was no time to grow your business. You had transitioned to a different brokerage, but it wasn't at that transition. At that point, right?
Yeah, no, when we moved to the new brokerage is when I told Austin, hey, if we're thinking about hiring a transaction coordinator, I would love to do it. It would be supplemental, that kind of thing. So I started doing that when we moved to the new brokerage. And there was a lot of support at this other brokerage during that season, at least. There were masterminds and things like that, because there was a bunch of fresh wind that kind of moved into this brokerage. That didn't last super long.
Okay.
There was just some things that kind of went awry. A lot of transition happened, and that stuff kind of went away. And so any motivation and coaching and stuff like that kind of also died off.
Gotcha.
So I got pretty complacent, I would say.
And so it wasn't until 24 that when you all made the switch to Keller Williams.
Yep.
Okay. So tell me about that.
So in May of 2024, the team moved over to Keller Williams, and we had kind of stayed where we were for a little bit. We wanted the dust to all settle and kind of make a really thoughtful decision about where we wanted to end up, because we really didn't want to move a lot. Like, we wanted to get somewhere where we felt like we were supposed to be, really dig in there, invest in wherever that would be, and stay. Mm-hmm. And so when we ended up making the decision to move to Keller Williams, I honestly wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, I'd heard of it. It's been around forever. There's a lot of people who are super loyal to it. I was a little skeptical, to be honest.
Okay, that's fair.
About the Kool-Aid. I wasn't sure about it. But really quickly, the culture and just the amount of opportunity kind of changed the game for me personally in my business.
Gotcha. So tell me about the opportunities that changed and that you were able to partake in.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things David warned us about when we were in our broker, David, when we were in our kind of like interview with him, was we asked, like, what's something, if somebody left this brokerage, they would say was a negative. Mm-hmm. And he said that there's honestly almost too much to do, that it can be kind of overwhelming because there's so many opportunities. Mm-hmm. And I would say that's true. I think you have to pick the ones that really matter to you, or you can kind of just spend all your days doing trainings and stuff. But for me, sure, I was really needing extra coaching, needing extra just motivation. And so there was plenty of things to get involved in at the office. Also, I really liked the people, and just being around all the people, mm-hmm, for me was really helpful and motivating. I don't know.
Totally. I mean, I think that many brokerages have training, mm-hmm, but not everyone has the culture and the vibe that we have at our office. And I think that's just what makes it, one of the things that makes it so special.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably very much office to office too. It's not totally like every single Keller Williams office may not be like this, but I'm just grateful that ours is.
Yes, and we're grateful you landed with us too. Yes. So you mentioned training, mm-hmm, and how you really needed that coaching. So walk me through that, and walk me through how that has catapulted you to where you are today.
Yeah. So like I said, when I first came over, I was still doing the transaction, mm-hmm, coordination stuff. One of the things David had offered us was coaching for a year for anybody on the team who wanted to do it. So I took advantage of that. Sure. I started doing coaching in July. So we started in May, started doing that in July. And then did the BOLD program, and starting in September, I think, which is that like 8 week intensive.
It's super intense.
Super intense. Yeah. Like kind of overwhelming, to be honest.
Pushes you outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Yes. And so I did do that, and I was really skeptical of it. I'm not a big rah-rah person, so I was kind of a little nervous about all of that stuff. But I did that, and when I was in the process of doing like goal setting and business planning for the next year, I had really felt like I was supposed to transition out of this transaction job if I was going to get back to really building my own business and take it really seriously again. And so I set a goal by the end of 2025 to transition out of that transaction role. But then doing BOLD, I don't know, by the end of it, I just felt like I was supposed to do it like ASAP. So like the day after, I think it was my last BOLD class, I called Austin and told him I was quitting. And he was like, what? And I was like, no, not the team, just the transaction job. Like, and he was great. He was like, yeah, it's probably past time. Like, you need to be focusing on like your own stuff. And so I did that in October, November, and we transitioned everybody over to the in-office coordinator, and it was wonderful and seamless. And then my business just kind of exploded, honestly.
It really,
for me at least.
Yeah, no, it totally has exploded. So transaction, like year to year, 24 to 25, what was that like for you?
So 2024 was already on track to kind of be my best year. And then I started out 2025, with that uncertainty. You're like, where is it going to come from again this year?
Always, yeah.
And I think that was kind of the step of faith with the transaction job. Quitting that was going like, I'm just going to believe and trust that it's out there, like that this business is out there. And if I do the right things, it'll happen. And then as the year went by, I ended up more than doubling my 2024 business. And
that's incredible.
Yeah.
So the business was there.
It was there.
All it took was taking
we'll
that
see about 2026.
It's there.
I'm just kidding.
You did BOLD again.
That's right. I did do BOLD again. Yeah.
So would you credit BOLD to giving you not really. I mean, yeah, the framework, the training, the encouragement to take that leap of faith. Like, I can do this.
Yeah, I think so. And like I said, I'm a natural skeptic, especially about things that are kind of rah-rah-ish. And bold is not just that. That's not what I mean. But for me, I think is this going to be, like, what am I going to get out of this? But looking back, that is the reason that I didn't wait till the end of 2025.
Okay.
To quit that part. And then with my coach helping me then honestly kind of pretend like I was a new agent in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Like new systems that I'd never got around to putting in place because my business started out like with a boom. I didn't have time to really get my database in order or do those kinds of things. And then once I shifted to the transaction job, I didn't have time to do it then either.
Sure.
And so I felt like I was starting over, and she was great for helping me kind of honestly just like build basic foundations that I should have had, but I didn't.
But you have them now.
I do have them now.
Yep.
And two, sorry to spoil it, but you write yourself a letter at the end of Bold. And that was like really, really cool this year to open it and see things that in my mind were such a long shot.
Okay.
Actually like come to fruition.
Stop it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What were some of those things, if you don't mind?
Well, I won't say numbers, but there's a certain like volume threshold on our team that you hit and your splits go up. So I hit that. That was huge. I didn't think I didn't really think that was possible. The other one was to hire a virtual assistant for myself. And that was maybe in 2027 was kind of what I did. And I actually did that, hired somebody in September of 2025.
That's incredible.
So some of those things were really cool to be like, oh, these were such long shots when I wrote them. And it was encouraging then, because when I did it this year and wrote my letter, I was like, don't be afraid to say this thing out loud. Like, I don't know.
Anything can happen. You just have to believe that it can, and then show up and do the work.
Exactly.
We've talked a lot about the past. Let's talk about moving forward. What does the future of real estate hold for you?
That's a great question. I just got back from family reunion. We were there together. And so much of the conversation right now is like everything else, AI, social media, all of that. I mean, that's a big part of the things that make me uncomfortable, but that I do believe if I'm going to continue to grow my business, like it's kind of a next step that I've got to take to do that. So that's a big part of like my future planning. I'm still building systems. I'm still trying to get some things in better order that, again, I feel like after almost 7 years in the business, should have had done a little bit better. But I'm, again, like you said, I'm getting them done now. So
to be fair, we're always evolving those systems.
Yeah, we
just
never
because
fully
they're
arrive.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. There's always something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on this podcast, but I'm not trying to build the biggest real estate business in Kansas City. I have numbers and goals and things that I know, and stretch goals and all of that. I want to make sure that I'm building a good life around it too. And so for me, like, those are really big priorities with just the numbers that I set for myself, the goals. And I have great friends who are like total boss babes, and I love it for them, and I like root them on, and I want to do well, but I also don't have to be the top agent. I just know I want to hit certain things, and for me, those are big goals.
That's huge, because it's not just about building the biggest business.
Right.
It's about building the life that you desire.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's so much more important than just the number on the page.
Well, because one of my biggest values is freedom. And I want to make enough money that I can have more freedom. My husband can choose to do the kind of job he's doing and still be available to our kids. Like, those are big goals of mine, but I also don't want to sacrifice that freedom because I'm working an insane amount. And that's really easy to do in this job. No judgment for other people. It's just for me.
Right. No, everybody's different. And I think it's great that you know what you want. You have the boundaries in place. So you're not working 24/7, because it is so easy to do.
So easy.
So easy.
Yep.
So what advice would you have for someone watching this who's maybe just getting started?
Believe it when people tell you like the foundations are your database and how you take care of your sphere and your closest circle of people. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get business, but I don't know, for me at least, I don't know how else I could have built my business without those things, without investing in the people that I know who already love me and are going to recommend me and those kinds of things. So that was a side thing. But I would say like building the foundations that everybody tells you from the beginning. I think sometimes we think that those are almost like, yeah, we'll do these other things and then we'll do this along the way. And as somebody who it took a lot longer to get there than I wanted to, I think a lot of it's because I didn't do those things in the beginning.
Okay.
Personally.
Fair. So in that essence, I think sometimes when we first get licensed, we just automatically assume that my friends, my family are going to use me, and I don't have to keep reminding them.
Yeah, no, they forget.
But yeah,
they forget.
Yeah.
I've had really good friends of mine. Whenever I finally would get around to posting something on social media, be like, "Oh, I wasn't sure if you were still selling." And it's like, "Oh my gosh, I see you once or twice a week. Like, how did you not know I was still doing this?" But
right.
We have to tell people.
Yeah, can't
it's
be
weird,
a secret
but
agent.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else that you would recommend for a new agent, or maybe even someone who is a transaction coordinator and has been, and scared to make that jump?
I do think that coaching, and I'm not trying to be a Keller Williams evangelist here, but I do think coaching and training is vital. I know for me, I'm an external accountability person. So knowing that I'm going to talk to my coach in person weekly, but like we're going to sit down every other week and go over the list of things I was supposed to work on. Even if I don't do it until right before I meet with her, I'm still going to do it because there's that accountability. And I think it's one of the most like valuable things you can do. And honestly, at least the way it's set up at our brokerage, it's really affordable. Like
totally, you
pay as you close deals. So it's not a strain financially that you're making a big investment. Though I also think sometimes making a big investment can also be motivating. So
sure,
everybody's
I think
different.
Depends on the person. Like you just said, I was the same way. Like in real estate, you have to get used to being your own boss in a sense. There's nobody really there, telling you what to do, guiding you maybe, but until you have that coach with that accountability, it just really, pushes you further than what you thought you could do.
Yeah. And everybody will tell you to treat it like a business and not a job. And that's true. I'm a big like financial literacy person too. So I would say when you start, learn as much as you can about how to be financially savvy when you own a business. And that's vague, I know, but there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, Elizabeth, who's at the office, always says that it's like one of the number 2 reasons I think that people leave is taxes. So just learning how to run a business, I think is critical too.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, thank you so much, Paige, for your words of wisdom and sharing your story. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Katie.